Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we take listener sources and pull out the key stuff so you can get informed fast.
Mm.
So today we're diving into a live stream transcript. It's from Ladero Wharf from Notary Know, Georgia.
Right. And it's aimed at notaries, obviously. But honestly, the things he talks about, there are some really solid business and mindset ideas in there that apply way beyond that.
Totally. So that's kind of our mission for this deep dive, right? To
Yeah.
look past the notary specifics and really pull out those strategies for, say, growth and resilience. Things anyone could use.
Exactly. We're looking for those practical takeaways. And, tapping into that really positive community vibe he builds, it's quite encouraging.
Okay, so let's unpack it. He kicks off talking about setting goals, which makes sense given the context, beginning of the year and all that.
Yeah. And he notes how New Year's resolutions often just poof, disappear.
Right, they just fizzle out. But his approach seems much more focused. He lays out these 30-day goals for his own notary business, Gin and Mobile Notary.
And they're super clear.
Yeah, like post one targeted piece of content every single day. So 30 for the month.
And hit $2,500 in revenue for January. Very specific.
What's interesting there, I think, isn't just the goals themselves, but how specific and visible they are. He talks about keeping them posted right where he can see them.
Yeah, that act of making them concrete, keeping them present, that's a big psychological boost, isn't it? It's more than just, hoping for the best. It's like a constant reminder.
Totally. Visual reinforcement. And it's not only his personal business goals. He does it for the community, too. Notary Know GA.
Mm-hmm. Similar structure.
Yeah. 30 content posts, go live 23 times, so every weekday in January, and get 100 new members in the community.
Again, really tangible things you can track.
Exactly. And it feels like it's about not spreading yourself too thin. It's channeling energy into just a few measurable things, which, for our listeners wanting quick insights, it really shows the power of that focus, like a laser, not a light bulb.
Right. And that focus, it links to this bigger idea of intentionality. Choosing a few clear goals means you're consciously directing your effort, makes it way less likely you'll get overwhelmed by a dozen vague ideas.
So then he brings in his 4 C's of business. Let's see, confidence, consistency, commitment, and caring.
Okay.
Let's start with confidence. He talks about, just believing you can actually deliver the service, especially when you're new.
Right.
And I love this bit. He tells people, borrow my confidence until you build your own.
That's a great line, that borrowed confidence idea. It really speaks to how much mentorship or just belief from someone else matters, especially when you're dealing with that imposter syndrome feeling.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Someone else's belief can kind of prop you up while you're building your own foundation. It's practical advice.
And the next C is consistency. And he kind of flags this as where people often fall down.
Mm-hmm. The day-to-day stuff.
Exactly. That regular effort in marketing, following up with clients, even just basic self-care while you're running the business. It's the small habits adding up.
Yeah, consistency is all about those sustainable routines, isn't it? It's like compound interest for your efforts. Small, regular inputs build up over time.
Good analogy.
And it's not just business tasks, right? It's also the personal stuff that keeps you going. Exercise, sleep, whatever fuels you.
Makes sense. Okay, C number 3, commitment. So it's not just setting the goals.
Right, not just writing them down.
You've got to actively work on them. Check in, keep pushing. It's the actual doing.
Precisely. Commitment connects the intention to the result. It means tracking things, maybe tweaking your approach if needed, and just staying plugged into those goals even when it gets tough.
Showing up.
Showing up, putting the work in, yeah.
And the last C is caring. He kind of suggests that if you're in a service business, you probably already care about people to some extent. Right. And he says to let that empathy guide what you do, especially when things are maybe difficult. Putting people first.
What's neat there is how he frames caring not just as a nice to have, but as a core business principle, something that should shape your decisions, particularly in tough times.
Yeah.
Genuine care builds trust, builds loyalty, which ultimately is good for business too.
So if you bundle them all up, confidence, consistency, commitment, caring, it's actually a pretty simple but quite robust framework.
Definitely.
You could use it to look at almost any project, business or personal, and see where maybe you need to strengthen things.
Yeah, and zooming out, maybe these aren't brand new concepts individually, but putting them together this interconnected set makes them really easy to grasp and remember.
Right. Provides a practical way for listeners to think about their own efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so then Ladero shifts gears a bit, talks about connection and community, how important that was for him.
Yeah, connecting with other notaries specifically. He said it was a real game changer.
Especially during rough patches, like when he was broke or burned out or thinking about quitting.
Which happens, right? Those low points hit everyone in business. And having that network, people who get it, that can be crucial. Fights off that feeling of being totally alone in it.
Absolutely. And he gave this great example. I thought this was cool. He talked about sending job leads to other notaries if he was too busy.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like, hey, Can't take this $50 signing, but here's the info, you go get it.
Yeah.
It shows that abundance mindset, you know.
That's huge.
Okay.
Instead of scarcity, thinking there's not enough to go around.
Exactly. The idea that there's enough business for all of us. That's pretty refreshing.
It really shows a supportive ecosystem in action. Lifting others up actually makes the whole community stronger, more resilient, benefits everyone.
And the key line he uses here is so important. You are in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it really resonates, especially for anyone listening who might feel isolated in what they're doing. Finding or building those networks can make such a difference, whatever your field is.
It's like building your own little support crew or personal advisory board, maybe.
Yeah. It's like that.
Which kind of leads to a question for the listener, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, what steps could they take to build those connections in their own world? Actively seeking that out could be a really powerful move.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up with some practical takeaways for people listening. We've seen the value of setting just a few really specific, visible goals.
That focus.
We've got the 4 C's: confidence, consistency, commitment, caring, as a neat framework to guide how you approach things.
Simple but effective.
And then that crucial role of community, connecting with others for support and growth.
And it's worth saying again, yeah, the source is a notary, but these principles, they're pretty universal.
Totally.
Yeah.
Anyone trying to build a business, move ahead in a career, hit personal goals. This stuff applies. So, yeah, diving into this Notaries live stream, we've actually pulled out some really valuable stuff. Effective goal setting, that 4 C's framework, and just how vital community is.
Which brings us to maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on.
Okay.
Thinking about those 4 C's, which one right now resonates most with where you are, what you're aiming for, or maybe struggling with?
Good question.
And maybe even more, think about how you could actively build stronger connections. How could you really live that idea of being in business for yourself, but finding ways not to be by yourself? How do you avoid doing it all in isolation?